At least these topics have not much to do. Oh,
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Welcome back to Cannon Fodder. Gary, the channel for Arsenal fans all over the world. Gary. Welcome back to a strange Easy Talk. Usually we do the Easy Talk on a Friday, but Friday is like it's Happy Holidays and Fridays is Christmas. So I thought, you know what, let's do like one more before we say hello, say goodbye. Go on, get out, 2020, and move on. It's been a terrible year, very very challenging, very precarious times. But yeah, we've got a full house. We've got a full house. I'll try and condense everything into an hour. I know our guest Gary is going to leave roughly 45 minutes, so we try and compact as much in as possible. So I might be very very strict, like a headmaster to the students, Terry. But anyway. Yeah. Let me get on to this music intro, and I shall see you on the other side, and we'll do the formal intros right after this music. Yes, so welcome back to Cannon Fodder, the channel for Arsenal fans all over this world. It's Easy Talk. I will usually say, it's Easy Talk means it's Friday. Friday means, but it's not Friday. Today's Wednesday, Ralph. It's Wednesday. And even I was thinking, is it Monday? Is it Tuesday? No, it's Wednesday. It's Wednesday. It's Wednesday. I think it is. Yeah. Guys who's watching now, make sure you subscribe to Cannon Fodder. Cannon Fodder.
Are we speaking in tongues now?
Cannon Fodder.
Cannon Fodder.
I didn't start thinking good, and it's not. Let's see if we can start over again.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. It started with
Take
me.
two.
I'm gonna blame myself.
Anyway, just subscribe.
And I'm New Yorkie.
Enough of this laughter.
Yeah.
Anyway, victory through harmony. Victory through harmony. So much discord, disharmony amongst the players I'm hearing, and oh dear, where should we go from here? But the first thing we wanted to talk about, and it's slightly not really off key, are Arsenal at risk of losing the best crop of youth players for a very long time? Bellingham, Emma Smith-Rowe, Cottrell, Saliba, Saka, and of course Martinelli, who got injured last night. I mean, I'm not sure why he was played anyway against Man City. But Gary, do you think we're at risk of losing this best crop of players we've had for a very long time?
Definitely. I mean, we saw it. We saw it earlier this season, right, with Saka when he went away on international duty and came back. And many of us, at least including myself, felt, you know what, he's played pretty well over the break, and he needed some time to rest. And I think bringing him back too quickly is, one of those issues that we see with with the youth. They need some time to recover, and that's one red flag for me in terms of the youth and how they're going. We need to protect them. We always talk about not bringing the young players in too soon and wearing them out. And I feel like sometimes we're doing that, and that's at the detriment to the players' future and careers. And their agents are looking at this because they want them to be around for a while. So that's definitely one sign. Two is actually getting them on the field, right? And Balogun is one example of a player that we feel like we would like to see more of him. And also for real, we feel like we've seen him before, and once he's healthy, he should get to play. We've seen that with the senior players, and we're hoping to see that the same with the youngsters that, at least from what I can tell, are deserving of it based on their form that they put in the Europa League or even in the U23s, just to see as they grow and get those opportunities. And some of those opportunities are getting taken away by players that don't need to be, don't want to be here. Or their time is.
For example, who? Tell us.
Let's just say.
Spoon of names.
Let's just say yesterday when Gabriel looked to his left and his right, there were two examples of players that probably did not need to be. I think also that's right there, there's an example of why you could risk losing those players, because they're looking around at some of the talent around them, and they're not going to get the experience and the tutelage that they need to be better for it. I mean, Gabriel, I feel, is degraded a little bit in the last couple of games, and that could be due to either the stress of watching the play around him, or just they're not providing him the mentorship that he needs to grow his game. And I feel like that's another negative for these players, that they need to have seasoned vets around them when they play. So there's definitely a risk, and I feel like there's easy choices to be made to resolve that. Either they need to be either playing with them, with their teammates that they've been playing with for a while, or seasoned veterans around them that actually can help out the team in the short term and in the long term. So definitely.
Raz, your thoughts here? Probably going to be losing these youngsters. They're looking around them. As I say, if you can keep your head while all the round are losing theirs, you just take off, mate. Go to the next club.
Well, let's put it into brass facts, as it were. You're a youngster, and you're in this team, and you're seeing division. You're seeing negativity. You're seeing indecision. You're seeing lack of leadership. But you know yourself that you're a good player and that you need someone to take you to the next level. Who there can take you to the next level? There's no real good examples, because it seems to be a team of egos. Now, of course, us as fans, we're only watching it from this side of the fence. We're not in the dressing room. We're what the PR machine spins out is them having the laugh on the pitch. So it gives you the impression that things are okay, but the results shows you just where we are. Now, at the beginning of the season, I was hoping that we'll be within maybe the top 4, maybe top 6, 7 at best, because let's face it, many of us Arsenal fans, we came at the end of a FA Cup run. We suffered COVID like all the other teams have suffered COVID, and we was on the crest of a wave, but we weren't too blinkered. Now, back to the youngsters segment. You're celebrated just your first FA Cup win because you're in the main team, and now you're hoping that you get that spot. But then you see your manager giving the spots to players who are subpar. I'm not going to say average. I'm not going to say good. They are subpar. They're way below what is expected at this club. And you're a youngster, and you know you're good, and you're waiting for your chance. Historically speaking, we've put in players like I have to go back. Tony Adams. If we go forward, let's go a bit further forward than Tony Adams, because we know about the history of them and the back four. Look at Fabregas. Yeah. Look at there was quite a few players that's in my head at the moment, and I'm trying to make a note of it. But Riziki as well. Those were young players. They were pretty much unknowns as they were, but they were immersed in the team that was successful. That you can pick out your Henry, your Bergkamps. If you look at the defense was solid. You had your Lauren, who, when you look at him, you knew that he wasn't going to mess about. You had Gilberto. These are the players that gelled the team together. And if you're a young player just coming into that first team, those were the good examples. Now we've got about 7, 8 players, young players, who are thinking, well, I've played one game in the Europa, a couple of games in the Premiership, or I was on for about 10, 15 minutes. But what's the manager doing? The manager is putting in players who are subpar. So, of course, if you're a youngster and you're seeing if you're in the England team, for example, you're seeing how your teammates are performing in teams in the Premiership and maybe overseas as well. The clock is ticking. And we are, as a club, we are very, fortunate to have youngsters. But if we're not going to put them in the team now, and I say now because we know these players, the experienced players, we say experience, If they're experienced, what was last night about? What was the last 4 matches about? If they're experienced and professional, why is it that you feel that you've got a divine right to take on yourself the manager's decision? Who are you? Are you a manager as well? If you're for I don't want to use a word because obviously we try and keep it as clean as possible, but if you're negative, if you've got an attitude and the manager still plays you, what does that do to a young player?
But let me ask you a question, Ralph. So you're in that situation, you've come through the academy, you've been at Arsenal for like 10 years. You get a few minutes in the Premier League, but you don't get to see any more minutes. Do you stay at the club or do you head for the exit door to save your career?
Well, if you if that young player was in the say late 80s, early 90s, you feel that your time will come. It was very much up to the club to see if yours worth it, or if they put you on loan, or if they shipped you out. These days, because it's very commercial and because the life of a football player is very short, if you feel that you're not in a team that's going to support you, and you've got a really good support system, you've got your parents, you've got friends, you've got a really good support system in your circle, they'll be looking out for the best for you, and they'll probably have that word in your ear to say, look, realistically speaking, do you think you are actually going to get a chance playing for the first team? You know yourself that there's 4 or 5 senior players who are playing and they're not good enough. It's time for you to look elsewhere.
Yeah.
And that's the harshness of it.
Let me ask Gary a quick question before I go to the original Godfather. So, Gary, you see this pantomime being played out before our very eyes, and Arteta is playing the same players that we are saying from our perspective he shouldn't be playing. Then why does he keep playing those players? Your Shakas, your Mustafis, your Kalatsinaches, who have said, you know what, we don't want a contract extension, we want to be leaving Arsenal, but yet he continues to play these players. Why is he doing that, Gary?
That's a big question. I mean, I don't think anybody has an answer because
help me out.
Think about it. If I thought either it's contractual, right? Because that would mean he's forced, or it's coming from above, so he's forced again. But if it's for his career, if it's for his future, there's no way he's playing these players. There's nothing that they've provided to us that we've seen on the field that would lead us to believe that, you know what, these players are going to get us to where we want to be, which is, I think we want to be playing good football, and we're not doing that right now. And if you're just thinking it, just give us that. Just give us that, because it makes no sense to play some of these players. And we'll get to it later, but I feel like, he's learned different ways to come about, to coach and manage, and we're not seeing it. He's been through, so why? That is the $1 million question. Why is he playing players that, for what we have seen so far, have let him down? They've let the team, but not him, but they've let the team down, I think, with their performance. I think they can do better. I think there are easy things that they can do, and the coach needs to help them out to some degree. Sometimes they need to sit. I mean, you said it multiple times. Certain players should be sitting, even though I never thought they should. And a good coach would know when to put a player to the side and say, you know what, you just sit here, take a look from the sidelines, see what you're missing, because there's certain things that I want you to do that you're not doing.
Yeah.
And I'll show you a player that can, and hopefully he has a player at every position that can show on the field what he wants, right? Maybe he doesn't, but I think he does. I think he has at least 11 players that he could put out there that could show at least something based on the coach's requirements.
Exactly. Tell the original Godfather, your moment.
Yeah, not to say on it really, but I mean, I think he, in the euphoria of winning the FA Cup and thinking, that's it, I've cracked it, I know how to produce a great team. In that euphoria, he made a few wrong decisions, not disastrous ones, but wrong ones, and now he's ruining that. I think when he was advised to bring in Inaki Kana as the goalkeeping coach, that was the first error. And because he was the guy that said, obviously advised him and said, keep Leno and I've got an Icelandic guy, a young lad who can step into his shoes. And Arteta virtually admitted in the post-match press conference that he had made a mistake there. And obviously, he's not going to blame his goalkeeping coach. But earlier on in an interview, I did hear him say he does let all his staff have a big input. And Klopp says that. He says, I wouldn't be anywhere without the staff around me. So I think that was mistake number one. And I was really surprised. I know that Emi Martinez was put to either become number one or to be given a transfer. But at the time, I thought Emi was marginally the sort of better goalkeeper. And I would, as manager, I would have been saying to Emi, look, stay with us until the January transfer window, and we'll make a decision in that period of time. And that would have been, first of all, the way out of the problem for the first part of the season. And I still think Emi is a better goalkeeper, and most people are saying that now. And then, of course, he was told you're going to have to get somebody alongside Orba who can set up the goals. And suddenly, Kia Jarabtrian is talking in his ear and in Edu's ear, because he's Edu's agent as well. And we ended up with Willian, which is looking to, I don't know anybody that thinks he's played well. And so you had 2 or 3 mistakes like that in the euphoria after winning the FA Cup. And I can understand why, and he's reaping what he's sort of sowed there. But I do hope that, as long as it's not unprofessional, that Pep has had a quiet word in his ear after the match and said something along the lines of, you can't trust some of your senior pros. They are not doing it for you. Jamie Redknapp is calling them kidders. They are kidding you. We know that Mustafi is talking to Barcelona, or his agents are. These players are going. Socrates is being allowed to go. And by not including Socrates and 1 or 2 other players in the EPL squad, he's basically told them, I don't rate you. Well, if you're going to do that, sell them first. Don't keep them on the books, and then they're outside the tent causing you all kinds of problems. So he should have, if he was going to let him go for free, he should have done that before he put in the EPL list. I think that was around about the middle of September. So he's made errors there. He's allowed people to still be around the club, and they do go in and they have to train contractually, and they're just causing problems because they're mates of these other guys. And you can imagine the kind of conversations that might not be going on at London Colney, but will be going on once these guys leave. And I think hopefully Pep has said to him, trust your young players, because as soon as Balogun came on and Emile Smith-Rowe, we saw glory be. We saw a through pass. Emile Smith-Rowe turned on the half turn and played a 6 or 8 yard pass, beautifully weighted, straight into Balogun. Wonderful. And yet shortly after that, we saw Kolasinac get the ball on the left wing, head up, and I thought, cross it. We've got Balogun in the middle running in, and he turned around and went backwards.
Yeah.
And on social media, they've got a load of it with El Neni. He received the ball round about the centre spot, and all the Arsenal midfield and forwards are pushing forward, and he turns and plays the ball back. Apparently, here's a quick statistic for you. Apparently, the goalkeeper that has received the most back passes this year has been Leno. So we're constantly playing the ball back to him. So yeah, I would play. In short, I would play a lot of the youngsters. I know it's going to be tough to try and give them the full 90 minutes, but I would certainly be looking to give them 45 minutes. Emile Smith-Rowe looks ready. Balogun is definitely ready. There's quite a few players there he could start blooding. And if people say to me, is Mustafi not giving his best? I don't necessarily think the players are going out thinking I'm only going to play 80%. But I think when your horizon is moving on to Barcelona or somewhere else, your level of play drops, and I think that's what's happened there.
Yeah. Dearie me. Let's go swiftly on to the second topic. We actually want to talk about Arsenal versus Man City. Yeah, the theatre of a disasters disasters. One of which, oh my goodness. Oh dear. I was really surprised, first and foremost, to see Martinelli actually started. And yeah, Gary, I'm gonna go to you, mate. Good luck.
Yeah, that picture that you showed was pretty much that's the game right there. That's all you needed to know. You were happy to see him come back, and you were fearful that if he came back, that one, he might injure himself, or in this case, get himself in a situation where he ended up getting a knock, right? So all the screaming, that's basically the fans screaming, him grabbing his leg. That's what we fear. On the ground, we got knocked down again. I mean, everything right there in one picture. I mean, it was. I've always, when he was out, my thought, initially was that he would be back in January, and I could live with that because they said the injury was such that he wouldn't be, if he was going to be full back fully and ready to go, it would take some time. So I'm okay. I'll take my time on players like him based on what we've seen, and he's yearning to go. And the manager's got to look out for his players, and I don't think he's looking out for his players. He's looking out for himself right now in the sense that he feels like he needs to do something. The desperation is building, and he's gonna hurt his players. And a manager and coach who does it to their players is hard to want to play for. I feel like that's just those are. I don't think he learned that from when Saka came back early. He didn't learn that when Luis had a knock. I mean, he didn't learn that from the Partey. I mean, how many more examples does he have to have before he realizes that the player's health comes first, and what the medical staff may have the answers for you, but the only person that can put them on the field is you.
Yeah.
And if you're looking out for your players, you have to. It's if we can see it, he definitely can see it because supposedly he sees a lot of things that we don't, especially in the practice. And your players, you know how they, who they are and what they're all about. So if you see something strange, usually your first thought is the right one. And I can't believe his first thought was, Martinelli, when you went down like that, yeah, you can come back out after halftime. That's a non-negotiable for me. Putting your players in harm's way. He definitely did it, and and then if you the young players in the staff, if they're looking at that, they're like, "Well, is this guy looking out for me?" Because what as an agent, if your client is going, we have an opportunity to stay or to go. What would you like to do? And he's looking at his client going, well, are they looking out for you as far as your career, your health, and maybe, and also the money, of course, but are you going to get what you want out of this? And right now he's not showing that. And these are easy things to manage. There's no rush. We're not battling for top 4, so don't worry about that. We are trying to get back into form, and that's okay. That's going to take some time, but you can't risk your players' health. I mean, Partey was crucial to this, return to some sort of glory this year, and I think we pushed that one a little bit. We pushed that button, and it's going to be a while before he's back to where we want him to be, and we're going to have to start all over again to introduce him to the team and figure out the best partnership and all of that. Yeah. I mean, those are things that could have been could have been easily resolved or fixed or even planned for. Yeah. So,
Ralph, your thoughts on the game last night? Yeah.
I'm not really shocked, if I have to be perfectly honest.
No, you're not shocked. Yeah.
No, not shocked.
Okay. Right.
It's just to me it's just another a cup that it'd be great if we was on a consistent run to use that for to showcase the youngsters as well, and give them a bit more playing time and everything else. But when you've got the likes of Mustafi and I have to laugh. Why would you play a player who told you that he doesn't want to play for the team anymore?
Yeah.
I've written down here a manager does live and die by his decisions. You live and die by your decisions. The players' welfare, if we're going to take injury as a factor, as I said to you many times and to everyone many times, I don't live too far from Principality Stadium, and rugby is the main focus in this part of the world. And they take the amount of times they've changed rules, where before, if the ball was up in the air and a player went up to get it, if he comes in contact mid-air, then you're responsible for his welfare, taking him down, and you get yellow carded. The medical team on the sidelines does a health assessment, especially with head injuries, because concussion is a main thing now. Not just heading the ball, two heads clash together. I'll give you a quick story. When I was playing football, my team played against an Irish team, and the captain was a very tough guy, and I captained my team. And the ball went up in the air, and I did a backflip to head the ball back, and he was behind me trying to attack the ball, and I broke his nose.
Ooh.
I broke his nose. It's just a clash of heads.
Now,
that was in a park. He had to go. Like I say, in the park. It was at their ground, so luckily they had the staff there to assess him. But he went straight to hospital, and we continued. But they were a man down, and then they had their sub on to come on. That's just a pub team, as it were. You've got youngsters, and your investment. That's your asset. You have to look after them. And the way that that Partey tried to come off the pitch, and you're pushing him back on to play when he quite clearly he's injured, shows a lack of care. And the medical staff, I was sacked a lot of them, because you're putting another player. As much as I don't like David Luiz, the second goal that was scored against us, you can see David Luiz, he was dazed. He let the guy come onto him because he probably couldn't focus which of the two images he was watching was coming towards him.
Sorry, Ralph. In that game, did he come back in the second half? He didn't, did he?
No, I think he did. And then they took him off. I think they subbed him off.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. He came back and he was bleeding.
He came back
through the bandage.
Yeah. So as a manager, you live and die by your decisions, and all too often, we are now at this point where you can see that Arteta, as much as he's very good at trying to explain with the amount of crosses we had in the game and the amount of possession that we have, you are looking at your team, and you'll have to look at Saka, for example, who is on the very edge, I would say, of being burnt out, because he consistently puts in a shift. And it must be galling for a 19-year-old to be an usurper against 30-year-olds, mid-20s to 30-year-olds who are on these big contracts. And all of a sudden, you've got this youngster. I'll give you another quick example. When I was playing football in college, we played against the senior teams. I was only about 17, 18 at the time. And there was this pro. And this pro used to play, he had tryouts for QPR. And the guy playing with him in defense, I was in and out of this guy. I was messing about with him. And he literally grabbed me by the shirt, and he said, "You don't do that. Maybe you're on the college pitch, but you don't do that." So you have to have a level of respect. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, when you see a youngster putting a shift in, it must, if you're a professional, it must upset you. It must. If it doesn't upset you, then really you're in the wrong team. You take your money and just go, because we've taken on, I thought maybe we may have had maybe one or two passengers. All of a sudden, we've got literally a top bus load of passengers.
Yeah.
When you think about it.
Yeah. It's
That's
funny,
a
Ralph.
great name.
Ralph, it's funny you mentioned about
Yeah.
or sinking ship. Ralph, it's funny you mentioned about it must upset senior players watching the youngsters like doing what they should be doing. And Eltel spoke about Elvis Smith Rowe when he came on. He affected the game. Pepe came on. What did Pepe do? Pepe didn't do anything.
You know what?
Actually realize he was on the pitch.
when you said in your earlier segments that with 72 million, and
Half it.
no, it's half that. It's
Yeah.
30,
So half again.
33,
Yeah.
15.2. I
Yeah.
won't even pay 15. I want to pay
Yeah.
15 for that. Now, if it was Sinelli who organised, if it was Sinelli who negotiated that deal, then I would go and find this guy and say, no, I want 50 million off you, because he must have pocketed something. He must have pocketed something. What there must have been some kind of. I don't think we got the real Pepe. I think this may have been a Pepe Mark II or something, or Mark IV.
That's
It's not
Pepe.
the real Pepe, because all those memes with with this guy in Spanish laughing, saying how, look, we've got the deal of the century. Yeah, we got a deal of the century, but the money went to the wrong person. We got shafted.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
That's all. I got to go.
But listen,
Sorry.
guys.
Tell. Go on, tell.
Yeah, just talking about Pepe, I have had a look online to see some footage of him playing for Lille, and he's not a winger. He plays in an inside forward position, and he does his damage in small spaces when he's moving into the penalty area. And once he's in the penalty area, people stand off him, because if you clip him, he's gone, and it's a penalty. So there's a whole lot about his game that we seem to be trying to turn him into a player that he actually isn't. He's got to me, he's getting close to the end of the road. Either we play him as like a sort of number 8, or we ship him out very quickly and blood these young fellas, maybe give them 45 minutes rather than the full 90, and shake up some of these senior pros. But I suspect from what I can see, there's going to be quite a few shipped out in the first week or 2 of January anyway.
Yeah, hopefully.
But tell, what's your thoughts about Martinelli being played? He gets injured, and apparently, I had this debate on the morning segment, and people were saying to me, well, if the medical staff cleared him to continue to play, then sure, it's okay for him to play, because the medical staff cleared him to play. But what's your thoughts, Martinelli?
Well,
God,
if we put it in context, he picked that injury up in the one that's kept him out in training. And I think he reminds me a little bit of Wilshere, that he goes into tackles that he shouldn't be going in for. And I think that one that he sort of went for, he just got clipped, didn't he? It was a pure accident, but he should have read that. And presumably, if he got injured in training, players normally don't go incredibly hard in training, although they train properly. So I'd be working with him on when it's a 50-50, it may not be a 50-50. It may be a 51-49. Don't put yourself in harm's way. If you don't happen to beat the goalie to it, it doesn't matter. We want you on the pitch, not putting yourself. He's a young lad. I'm not saying he's hot-headed, but he's a young lad who doesn't see danger. And you need some of the old pros that you can trust. We're beginning to run out of old professionals that you can trust. But you need somebody to have a quiet word with him and say, if it's 50-50, at the moment, we'd prefer you to not go in for it, because we want you on the pitch. So I do have alarm bells ringing that if he's going in for tricky tackles, he was very lucky. It clipped him. Apparently, he is going to be all right. He's got a mark there, and it's swelled up. Yeah. So that's why he. Yeah. And also, they've also. Yeah, go on.
Sorry, I was going to say just on that. I'm the medical team who are meant to be looking out for our guys. Listen, I've got a board game called Operation. I'm not a surgeon, right? And if I clip the side, I get you get the buzz, and then you have to pay. Is it £200 to the patient? These guys can't even. I bet you if you put them in Operation, they're probably the game wouldn't last 5 minutes, because they'll do something crazy. Come on.
Yeah, as they say, you have to, as a manager or a coach, you have to look out for your players, because you want them to go 100%. That's what we're looking for. Martinelli is actually showing everybody on that team what it looks like to play football. That's what a footballer does, right? They play 110% as long as they're out there on the field. And when they can't, then you have to look out for them, because you know what? they're going to hurt themselves. And that's what it looked like when he was trying to walk around and walk it off. He wants to get back in there because he hasn't been playing for a while. And we
Yeah.
see that, you know, and we don't want to kill that, because if we kill that kind of, you know, kill that, he won't come back. You know, we won't get the same guy back the next time.
Yeah.
I think Wrighty,
That's right.
I think Wrighty had that kind of they said that why do you used to pick up so many red cards? And the thing is that he said, well, I'm in the game, you know, but if I had to tailor my natural aggression, that was my focus, then you get a very passive player, and that passive player would be at risk with injury and everything else. So what we have to do, we have to manage that. A good coach, a good manager would say, okay, you know, we've got this really raw talent, we can see the potential, but then we have to coach him in the way that is very effective in the way that he plays, and the team has to defend him. This is the thing that Alex pulled up once before, that if the team's cohesive, if there's a real kind of cohesive unit, then you look out for each other. You know, Gary, you're up front, but I'm playing by your wing, so I'll protect you, but I'll lay off the ball to you. I got Eltel, who's the dark arts. He's in defense, so I know that if anyone who comes within that range, he will defend the defenders. And you've got Alex, who's going to be the manager, and Alex will just say, "Look, if you don't do what I tell you to do,
you know,
then this is just the way it is." But that's a cohesive unit.
But you know what really upset me watching Martinelli get injured? It was more the fact that I didn't see any of the Arsenal players go over to him and say, you know, are you okay? It was only after a couple of minutes, Lacazette went over to him and say, you know, mate, are you all right? But to me, it just shows a lack of empathy, lack of compassion. They don't really care for each other. You got
Alex,
one of your teammates, you know, sprawled on the ground, and not one of you can go over there and say, no, are you all right? But what happened? Not one of them. Not one of them.
Maybe it's competition. Maybe Lacazette's thinking, hang a minute now. You know, if Martin is out, I may be able to get another couple more games before I leave or something. So
I don't think so, guys.
I hope not.
Yeah, let me go to the live chat. I've got to be very mindful. Gary's got to go quite soon, so let me go to the live chat and see who I can read the comments from. Ashton Elmer says, "Good evening, chaps. Have a wonderful Xmas, and the same to you as well."
Awesome, Ashton.
True Guna says, "Good evening, Raz."
Good evening, True Guna.
Ashton says, "Arsenal dressing room is like Game of Thrones." Eddie needs to organise a red wedding. Oh, I've never seen Game of Thrones.
Yeah, you don't want that.
Promote Nicholas Mola, Muller, accurate pinpoint and power header of the ball. Reminds me of a mouse like close, Oliver Berghoff and Giroud. We're missing a Giroud, aren't we, Tel? We're missing a Giroud type striker.
We are. That was an error, because he's the sort of player. What is he? 33 now. He doesn't need pace because he's a big guy. He's always going to get flick-ons. He knew exactly where to be and when. And Chelsea are still playing him from time to time. I have seen this Muller guy play, and he's 6'4", blonde sort of centre forward. He looks really good. Oh my goodness, he looks good. He dominates the air. He's got a lovely first touch. Now he's one of the very young youth players, if you see what I mean. I think he's only been with less than a season, but he's one for the future. And you know, if you're going to play Balogun up front, and if you're going to play Emil Smith-Rowe, then put Muller on the bench. And if we're doing, if we finally start doing well in a game, bring him on for 10 or 15 minutes. He's definitely plan B. We've one of the problems with Pep Guardiola's team is he never ever has a plan B, and I'm really worried that Arteta is similar. That he believes in the smaller players, the through passes, all of that kind of stuff, and actually a plan B has got Arsenal out of all kinds of trouble over the years.
Yeah, I mean, I just remember that. Oh no, I'm sorry. I just remember that game when Giroud came in, and I think we were down a man. We were definitely down a goal, and I believe we scored 2 goals with him coming when he came in. We don't, you know, and that's what you got, right? You knew when he came in what he was going to do. The opponent knew what he was going to do, and it didn't really matter. And that's what you want. You want to be able to have a player that can come in, and you know exactly what they're going to do, but you have no answer for it as an opponent. Yeah, and he was one of those. He was one of those, and you know, we miss that. We miss that now for sure.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
know this wasn't on the topics, but I know Gary, you got to go in a few minutes' time. So, I've had this debate on the live shows for the best part of like 2 weeks, whether Arteta knows his best 11 and whether he actually has played his best 11. I don't think I've seen his best 11. Terry, what would be your best 11? I'll go around to everyone.
Well, I would never. He's in a way he's almost backed into a corner now, and he's going to have to play some of the young players. So I would definitely be putting in at least 2 of the younger players. I'd definitely have Smith Rowe in there. I'd have Balogun in. As I said earlier, I don't know I'd give them the full 90 minutes, but I'd have them in. I'm a bit worried about burnout as well, because he's played Gabriel, the 3 great players for us, Gabriel, Saka and Tierney. And there is I'm beginning to sort of worry with Gabriel. I think he's feeling the sort of stress and pressure. He's still learning English. He's still trying to pick up, because Arteta is a very detailed coach. He goes into great detail. He doesn't let them just go out and play and just give them a few ideas. So he's got a lot flying at him, both mentally, emotionally, physically. I worry about him because the last couple of games he's been slightly off standard. Tierney, as we know, is a stunning player. The worry is we haven't really got another left back, unless you play the Southampton guy over there. Then we really have got nobody, because Kolasinac was awful last night. So my best 11, we're struggling to find a decent centre back alongside Gabriel. I think that's one of the problems. There's been a lot of conjecture about what is Ainsley's best position. I personally see him as a midfielder.
Yeah.
And I know he occasionally loses the ball and he's got those kind of issues, but I think he shields the ball well. And I think we have to blood him there. And that's his best. I think he's either a defensive midfielder or a box-to-box midfielder. But we've got players. Willock is a player we need to keep going with. So although I'd have a smattering of I certainly wouldn't have El Neni in there. I just don't think he had. All he does is pass the ball back. He rotates the ball. So if you're 1 or 2-0 up and you want to just rotate the ball around, bring him on. But he certainly doesn't push the ball forward into attack. So yeah, really, he's got to start selling some of the dead wood. And also, if you bring in some fresh players, they will want to prove themselves. So he's going to have to look around. I know people have said there's a couple of players. Max Aarons at Norwich might be a good right back.
Yeah.
Buendia, there might be players there that we can bring in for not too much money. But it's not just about players. It is about, I think, simplifying the game and trying to get guys who want to really play for the shirt. And at the moment, there's a lot of them in their head. They're going. They know they're coming to the end of their contract, and really, we should have let some of them go in the summer. But let's clear it early in January. I know there is talks afoot that we've got players moving out. Let's get them out in early January and get some fresh blood in there, and I think you will see a different team.
Okay, Gary, your best 11. You are the manager of Arsenal. Tell me your best 11, Gary.
Well, I'm going with
on.
Yeah, no, I'm going. I'll be talking about this later on the other show I'm on. But yeah, I think we definitely, for me, it's a case of getting the youngsters in at least as part of the squad, as much as it is about finding that 11. Because I feel like we're not going to be able to play them as much as we want, at least if we want them to grow, right? I feel like the best 11 will be okay, but it won't be the 11 that I think is what I would consider the Arsenal starting 11 going forward, at least for the time being. For me right now, I felt like what I saw from Martinelli, if he was playing alongside Aubameyang, I feel like that probably would have opened up Aubameyang's game, and then we get the man that we paid for. Balogun showed us, what it looks like to play the striker. So, will Aubameyang see that and go, you know what? Maybe I need to, start doing a little bit better, because these kids are showing us how to play this game. I think Balogun should be able to push Aubameyang if things go that way. On the right hand side, I feel like Willock needs to have a set of games where I feel like he's got a better support system around him. I feel like sometimes he's been out there and he's got nobody behind him that's helping him out, and he's kind of left by himself. So we get, some bad players around him. If Partey gets healthy and gets back in there, that should be part of the starting 11, right?
Yeah.
I've got Saka and Maitland kind of on the outside. I toyed with where Maitland should play because I felt like he plays really good defensively as a back, but Suarez is supposed to be better as a full, all-around player back there, and will give the overlap that I think we were looking for. So that's kind of where I kind of go with that. So I would have actually Cedric behind him playing, so I can get him in the game. If we're gonna put that money into him, then it's for a reason, hopefully. And let's see him out there. Tierney and Saka on the left side. On the left side that's easy, right? Gabriel in the middle. Yep, he needs a friend, right? He needs a friend to play. He's out there alone sometimes. I mean, I think Luis is actually fine, but long term, no. I mean, it comes back to me. Saliba should be part of the squad at least to give Luis a rest or actually to start getting acclimated to the team. So Leno's going to be where he is. What we saw yesterday was scary in the sense that it doesn't show. It means Leno won't get pushed. He won't get pushed in practice, right? And I think he needs to, because I feel like as many times as we say, you know what, that was a good shot by the other team. I feel like you got to stop at least one of them. We've had many a shot in the last number of games where it's like you got to stop one of them, right? Son's shot, right? You just pick a shot. Pick one of them. The corner in the Everton game. I felt like that was one he could have probably got to, but there's always one. He needs to. I think he can play better. I hope he can. If they put all that confidence into him, and I feel like I would like to see him make one of those stops where it was either a good shot or a deflection or we broke down and he just comes out, makes himself big and cleans the ball out, right? I think he can do that. We've seen it, so I need to see more. I'm not gonna blame him, but I feel like he needs to, instead of just giving us whatever that, instead of giving us a 10, I need him to give us an 11 and do something, show us something more, because we need it. We need it back there.
All right. Okay. Well, Gary, I think your time is now finished. Listen, Gary, it's a pleasure getting you back finally again on Easy Talk. Have a happy holidays. Stay safe, and no doubt we shall be seeing you on the other side of 2020. Take care, my friend.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, everyone. Everybody in the chats.
Cheers, man.
Raz and Eltel. All right.
Nice one.
All right, so Raz, you're 11, man. Tell me your 11.
Well, pretty much the way that everyone else is going. I said pretty much Leno. Leno's not going to have anybody to push him. From what I've seen. And it's a grave error. How did we not think after letting go of Martinez that we should have a suitable goalkeeper, even if it's from the Championship? Renison did look like, I think someone on your chat said he looked like as if he won a prize to play with the first team, because some of the goals that he did let in, it's heartening. So Tierney, let's have a look at Saliba. What's going on with Saliba and Gabriel? Why haven't we tried that out yet? We've got players there that are screaming to be played, and we're not playing them. I'll go along with what Gary says as well about Suarez. I feel like as a right back, he'll provide. He's a better right back than Bellerin. He's going to be more focused than Bellerin. He can actually cross the ball. He can throw the ball.
That's a plus in itself.
Some of the easy basics he can do. So why not just go in with strength? And again, we need players who will start making the senior players think either my time's up or I need to prove to the manager I'm still worthy. But I think that time's running out. And then with midfield, I've circled Pepe. But we've got Ashley Maitland-Niles. He's a midfielder. I'm not thinking. I said circle Pepe. I'm putting it. He's not in the team. I've just circled it.
Circle.
I put a circle because it's a zero. It's a zero. So Ashley Maitland-Niles, that's actually Ainsley Maitland-Niles. That's where he started out. I think the main reason why he had created such a want away from the club is because he probably felt like he wasn't going to get played, and that's when the interest came in from all the other clubs. And I think I felt that Arsenal was going to miss the trick if they did let him go. You have to play him. Now look what's happened. We don't play him, or we play him in parts, and we play him defensively. That's not his strength. Why aren't we playing players in the roles that they're good at? If you remember, I don't know if you remember, obviously, when Thierry came, he was a left winger.
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
No, it was left.
Juve.
It was left for Juve. Yeah. And then Wenger saw that he had pace and said, "You know what? Actually, you do well as a striker." I don't think Arteta's got that kind of like trick in his bag, so to speak. There are players there that can actually do the job. Let's put in Emil Smith Rowe.
Yeah.
When Partey comes in,
Ralph, I think you've hit it. You've got three great midfielders: Maitland-Niles, Partey, and Emil Smith Rowe. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Now that's sorted. Then all you got to do is keep Auber up front, and then you've got all kinds of options. You can bring in you can bring in Saka, Auber, and then you've got a lot of other options. If you want to play a deep line centre forward, Lacazette. If you want to play another winger, I like Nelson. I really like Nelson. I think he deserves a go. You've got to shake these players up, Let Nelson in there. Then you can still bring on Nketiah. You've got Martinelli. We haven't even mentioned him. Suddenly, for a team that's struggling to score goals, you've now got a load of players that you can play, and you can alternate, and you can bring on fresh legs after 50 or 60 minutes.
Yeah. I have to quickly run through them because I need to go into a live chat. So finish your 11. Yeah.
Okay, so that I said that was my 3, and then I quite like having Martinelli and Bellingham up front.
That's my
because let's put it this way: everybody knows how Uber plays. Everybody knows how Lacazette plays. These two are pace and strength, and there's I see Bellingham as he's the ball. He will take it. He's got that bit of swag, but it'd be very hard to knock off the ball. And you got Martinelli. As a defender, what I hated small players who are skillful and pacey, because you have to drop back, and then you have to commit yourself, and if you've got a good back 4, back 3, when you go forward, they know that you're going to try and either take that man out, or if he misses you, or if you miss him, then your second defender comes in and say, right, I have to take him out because you've missed him. But then you come round back to cover the space that on line attacker would occupy. So pace and strength is what you need up front, and that's what we've got. Unknown quantity.
All right, so I've got to go into a live chat, see if I can try and catch up. There's just been so many. John Wayne's coming. He says, "Good evening, lads."
John Wayne.
It's the real John Wayne, by the way. Says, great point regarding the likes of Rosicky, Daniel Ponce, and Pedro Neto are very much in the category. These are the type of players we are missing, and the ones that Wenger would have snapped up for on the cheap. Cyril says, my dream of the 2021 is to get Vic Akers on the board. What about that, Eltel? Vic Akers.
Excellent. I love Vic Akers and his short trousers. He probably wears short trousers. I can definitely see Mertesacker being number 2. Whether in January, there are rumours that maybe Arteta isn't happy with one of the 2 guys that are alongside him, or certainly in the summer. And Joe Montemuro has done very well with the girls' team.
Good blueprint.
Good blueprint, and they're all Arsenal people,
Would that structure take us where we want to go, Cyril? Is there overarching football brain in control. But the main things, like Terry says, they're Arsenal people. They know Arsenal. They know Arsenal. No?
Well, in terms of somebody that's directing the club, I know they all talk about Edu, but I think Edu is very green. He comes across the few times I've seen him as he's really green and really hasn't got the sort of background knowledge. I would write. People have said, why don't we get people like David O'Leary in there on the directors? Why don't we ask David Dean to come back between now and the summer? And to
that'd be amazing,
and be the link between the directors and the sort of coaching staff. We need to, this is a serious moment and a pivotal moment in Arsenal history. And I think he'd happily accept a role. He wouldn't be stepping on people's toes. He'd come back in. He'd keep the directors informed. He'd be talking to Edu. And of course he's a wonderful negotiator. And although he's pushing back the years, he looks pretty fit. He can still pick up a phone. If you want somebody, because we haven't got Hus Fami now. Hus Fami's gone.
Yeah.
Why don't we get Dean and say, look, would you be happy to negotiate a few deals?
Yeah. Ashton says, Wiltshire, Fabregas, Gibbs, Song, Gnabry, Anelka, Walcott, 7 years old, who played for Arsenal. And I've got a Ray. There's a problem is those 11 that can show the way are the young players. Yeah, we're looking. Well, now we're looking at the youngsters that show us the way. It should be the other way around. Should be the other way around. Who else do we have here? Sorry, guys, just so many comments in the chat. I'm gonna try and catch up as much as I can. Try and keep it to an hour, which we've only got a few more minutes. Where are we? Where are we? Oh, right, here we go. Also, just no, we've done one already, haven't we?
You said that one. Yeah.
Beg your pardon. Again, it's just. Let me see who I can pick up.
Shall we tell our subscribers and viewers that if you like what you see, press the notification button, give us a like, do the thumbs up. Thank you very much.
Thank you for that. Ronaldson was picked up from Trotters Independent.
You know what? Why don't we play?
That's a good one, Ashton.
Bringing Rocky out and sticking him in goal. Or Dave, as they call it.
Oh boy!
The old boy strikes again. Oh my goodness!
Only at Arsenal.
Let's have a look. Ashton goes on to say outgoings are more important than transfers in. Yeah, I mean for January, I don't want to see any new players. I want to see a lot of players leaving these shores of Arsenal. I don't want to see any new players coming. The squad numbers is big enough as it is.
Yeah. Let's trim it down.
Colin Young, good evening, says that Emi wanted to press to get in the Argentine national team, and he couldn't do that as a backup. I believe he should have began the season as our number one based on form, but we've all seen how Arteta rates form.
Good point.
Is that a picture of Martinelli, his reaction to his to the first goal?
We're getting some real choice ones tonight, aren't we?
Here's one here for you, Ralph. Colin Young says a good job on the Voice of Reason show today.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Colin. Much appreciated.
A Trotters Independent. Oh, God, dearie me. Alex, you've got to buy Ralph some AirPods.
Actually, my daughter's got some AirPods, but she won't let me borrow them, so I had to try and find these. Sorry, guys. Merry Christmas.
Oh dear, we've come to an end. There's so many comments there. I did say I want to keep it to an hour. If I were to go through all the comments, we were going for like 2 more hours. And I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. No. But what I am going to do, I'm going to say thank you very much to El Tel, the original Godfather. Always a pleasure to have you back on Canal Fodder, man.
Thanks, guys.
Quality stuff. And of course, my brother, my co-host. And
thank you very much.
Leader, Voice of the Reason. Voice of the
Thank
reason.
you very
Voice-
much, bruv.
Yeah, no worries.
Much
No worries.
appreciated.
But anyway, guys, whoever's watching now, make sure you subscribe to Cannon Foy TV. It's been the Easy Talk strange special. Yeah, because we usually do it on a Friday, and today's not Friday. Today's it is Wednesday today, isn't it?
It is
Yeah.
Wednesday.
It
I think you need a drink.
yeah, give me a drink, a virtual drink. Oh, tell the book. The book.
Oh
Are you gonna
yeah.
give me the book? Yeah.
Do you want to drive up to you and leave it outside the door there somewhere?
Yeah, please. Yeah, or you can give it to me virtually, through the camera.
Hang on, I'll find it.
He's going to his vast. This is the books of the dark arts. So forward that to Arteta.
Yeah.
All right. Well, anyway, guys, if you've been wondering who or what you've been watching the last Easy Talk on this side of 2020. To each and every one of you who've been watching over the last almost 3 years, Ralph. February 2021 will make it 3 years we've been doing this platform here. Do you want to say a few words, Ralph, before we end this one?
Yes, I would say to each and every contributor, moderator, people who leave positive or negative comments. Thank you very much on behalf of Alex and I. We've seen how this channel's grown. It's literally just the start with 10K, but we couldn't do it without you guys. It's, we are really, really appreciative of all your comments, and keep joining the channel. Keep giving us as much help as possible if you like to donate and everything else. And what we wish as well for everyone is a safe and peaceful Christmas. Stay safe out there, and then let's gather again on our next channel meetup.
Last one. Elto, any words? You want to say anything?
Yeah, I'll just say in Spanish, Feliz Navidad. Feliz Navidad. There you go.
Listen, we're done. We're done and fished. We're finished. Again, if you're watching, make sure you subscribe to Cannon Foy TV. Hit the bell notification button so you can receive all the latest content right on this channel here. It's been a blast with 10,000 subscribers. I never thought, Ralph, we would have reached this point.
No.
It's gone.
It's a great milestone.
Yeah, but we could never have done this without any subscribers and followers across all 3 platforms: Facebook, Twitter, and of course right here on Cannon Foy TV on YouTube. So again, guys, we are out, and enjoy yourselves. Please keep safe, look after each selves, and may your God go with you. That sounds like Dave Allen, doesn't it? It's Dave Allen.
It is Dave Allen.
Come back.
We'll live with the words of
Take care, guys, and see you on the other side of 2020.